guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Talkinsen. It's me, Ogechi. Welcome. Yeah, I'm back on your screen looking different. Hello. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. Oh my gosh. Alright, it's been such a long time I haven't done this videos. Okay, so we're gonna do it today. Okay, so we're going to have multiple videos coming to you because I am back and I'm going to have more time to do this and upload for you guys. So if this video is in focus, I say thank you. If it's not, what can I do? So let's talk. I'm sorry, I've tried multiple times to reset it, but let's make do with what we have. So welcome to Talkinsen, welcome to Ogechi, back on your screen. Like, well, it's not like she did leave. Yeah, but I want to be vlogging a little bit more and going out and do stuff like that, so that's what I would do. So welcome back to my channel, welcome to Talkinsen. Hi, how are you? Let's talk first of all, get acquainted. If you are new to my channel, my name is Ogechi and I'll upload videos every now and then. I wouldn't say I've been consistent, but I want to be more consistent. Now that I'm doing this again, I should be more consistent, hopefully. I'm just having a bit of issues, technological issues, so it's going to be sorted by me. So yeah, that's it really. So welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I want to first of all make an appeal to you about a charity organization I'm trying to fundraise for. Please, pretty please, I want you to support me to achieve this aim. That would be really helpful. I've already done a video about it in my previous video, talking about marriage issues and stuff like that. But with this one, I'm going to put the link below. I'm going to still say it. My name is Ogechi and I am going to be doing the Great Northern Run for 2026 September, I believe it will be. And as part of that, I have decided to do a fundraising for it, for a charity called Mercy Ships. Mercy Ships is a charity that uses ships converted to a hospital to deliver surgery to places where people do not have the income or the money to have these life-transforming surgeries, where people that maybe were affected by birth, in terms of deformities, body deformities, are being restored back into ability, from disability to ability, I would say, where restorative surgeries are being done on their body. So I'll put some of the links, the pictures of some of these children and our adults as well. These surgeries have been performed on those who are born with tumors or who develop tumors, like massive tumors, right, that being removed free of charge. These are all done by volunteer doctors and nurses, as well as other volunteer staff that come to do this effective, productive, great work for these people in different regions of the earth. So it's a charity that is close to my heart because also I have a family member who I thought would have benefited from such support if it was ever given early. And this was something that she couldn't do anything about it, and she inspires me every day because guess what? I'm here talking to you. As part of the issues I'm going to talk about here is hair, and this woman is a person that have made me feel beautiful throughout my childhood. This is an auntie that made me be someone that is stopped on the road and her hair admired because she always did my hair. So because of her, I decided to just fundraise again for Mercy Ships, because I have fundraised for them before when I first heard about them, and it's a charity that is dear to my heart, and I think you also like supporting that charity, okay, because of what they do. Honestly, if we support their work more, they might even come to your nation, you never know, and perform some of these surgeries to people that need this help, that don't have money to pay for such surgeries, and even remote areas. Can you imagine? These people travel far and wide to come to where the ship is and be cured or be healed or whatever thing they gone for from what they are going through. It made that someone that didn't have hands to do basic things, that depended on other people, now became independent because their hand has been restored. The tumor that caused shame is now removed. They can walk around freely. They can. Some children that didn't have legs to go to school before now have ability to go to school because their legs has been corrected. I'm telling you, this is such an amazing charity. Okay, this is the second time I'm going to fundraise for them, and this time I'm doing it to challenge myself as well, in terms of doing the 5K run for Great Northern Run. Okay, so please and pretty please support this charity by going to the link below and clicking on it, and then just follow. I'll put the link also in the comment section. Just click on it and just donate through my own. I know you can do it through their website, but I'm the one telling you, so you need to donate the money through my own platform. Yeah, and yeah, to fundraise for it. And my target I want to get this time around is just £100. I know it's doable by you guys. If you like me, if you like the charity, if you just like doing good things for other people, regardless of this is who is doing it, please then go ahead to donate to this charity. I would say anything from £5 upwards would be very good, because that will help me meet my target closer. So please pretty please, I'm really begging, go to Mercy Ships using my link. I'm using Just Giving. Please use it to donate. Thank you so much. God will bless you in abundance, and any money that you use to do this thing, my God will replenish in abundance for you, because the lives touched by these people are massive. Okay, and if you ever want to do something good for other people, this is your best opportunity without having to be there to do it for them. All right, there are other charities that I like to support as well every now and then, but for this one, my thing is just Mercy Ships all the way. And guess what? It's also supported by late President Nelson Mandela of South Africa. Again, if you like Nelson Mandela, like some people like to praise him without acknowledge the great work he does, this is the part of things that he supported. He supports this charity really. And there's something that he mentioned. When ships were used for evil, it now has been transformed to good. He didn't say it that way, but that's how I interpreted it. Okay, so he commends Mercy Ships, and you should also commend them by supporting, financially donating to them. Okay, thank you so much, and God bless you in abundance. So let's get into the video. So the video I am going to talk about is a video I've done before, but something happened and it went, so we are redoing it now. Okay, I wanted to upload it during the Black History Month for America, but well, last year, but I didn't get to do it. And then I said this year for Black History Month for America. I did record it, but then it went, something happened to it and they went. But I'm redoing it now, so hopefully nothing will happen with this one. Yeah, so we get it done. Yeah. Okay, so let's begin. The topic I'm talking about here is Black forgiveness. You know, I put it something to do now actually during the Lent period. If you don't know, we are in a period of Lent if you're a Christian. So what that means is that it's really a time to reflect and think about how we do things and how we can change for the betterness of ourselves and for others. And I think this particular topic ties in very well with this period. So I say you are valued, okay, dear daughters and sons of the Black people. Value yourself, okay? I've forgotten how I put it. Hold on, let me find out how I put the title. Hold on, let me see how I put the title, because I wrote it really nicely, like to reflect the Lent reflection. So I put it here as beloved, your experiences are valuable and valid. Okay? So I probably will write it as that. Then I put black forgiveness somewhere. So, beloved, your experiences are valuable and beloved and valid. Okay? Here is the reasons why. We are talking about forgiveness, but particularly I'm talking about how black people of African descent, in any space that they find themselves, whether of those who, due to issues beyond them, came to a different nation, wherever you find yourself, if you're someone that describes yourself as a black person that has an African descent roots to you, this video is for you. And the reason why I'm making it that is only for Africans, those who says themselves are Africans, because I've learned that not every black person is an African. The fact someone is dark skinned is according to the racial category. You call them black, but that doesn't mean they are of African descent or African roots. So it's very important to acknowledge that, because I met someone that had to tell us that she's not African. So that means that if I'm going to share any experiences that I think is general to black people, it may not pertain to her because it may not be her experience. However, she understood the concept of blackness. So this is why I'm saying anything African, I don't care what skin tone you are. If you say you're an African descent and you consider yourself a black person, this video is for you. So the black forgiveness I am talking about, I'm looking into the areas of the hypocrisy, the hypocrisy as well as all the bias, as well as the issues and discrimination that comes within that forgiveness. Because I find that black people forgive differently when it comes to their own race compared to when it comes to another race in certain issues, publicly especially, and perhaps privately. Actually, privately as well. So here is the topic, and this is the breakdown of how it's going to go. First, I'm going to talk about what forgiveness means. Then secondly, I will talk about the different cases that brings about this topic of black forgiveness issue. So looking at the hypocrisy or hypocrisy in it and the discriminatory aspect of it, and then looking at how we can learn and educate ourselves to be better and how we can support each other, because the things that we extend to others, we can also extend it to ourselves, if that makes sense. So the kindness extended to others, we should be extending that to ourselves more than anything. Now, I did notice and I observed that most of this hypocrisy I see do come from our darker skinned brothers and sisters, because it's my own observation, not just in person, but online as well. And if you doubt me, please, I'll put some examples of some people that say some things that don't used to make sense. Because, actually, can I just even mention one person? Whilst it wasn't for me to mention a person, but there is this particular person that came to my mind now to speak about, because she confused the heck out of me. Okay, I'll use her as an example. I didn't even put her as part of my examples, but I will use her as an example. I will mention her because I'm doing case examples, real life case examples, and she will not be excused. She didn't come to my mind when I did the topic of this video. I even did all my rehearsals and stuff like that, but now it came to my mind. I think it's important to mention her. Not that I don't like her, it's just that I don't understand where she comes from at times. So here is the issues I'm going to present. Let's begin with the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness is about letting go, or like just forgiving, letting go of hurtful past, choosing, sometimes maybe even if you remember, but just the idea of releasing yourself from hurt done by others against you. I've done a topic on forgiveness on my video, which is on this platform, and I'll put the link below, and it's also a part of Lent reflection, so this really ties in very well again with this whole video. So This particular forgiveness I'm seeing from black people, as I mentioned, is already hypocrisy. Now, hypocrisy comes in when you treat others differently to how you treat yourself or treat other people. So this is where the issue comes from. So the first case study I want to explore is the case study of Botham Jean and Amber Geiger, which was a case that was in America, a very viral public case of where a young man in his flat was killed by a female whose profession is a policeman, a woman. So in this situation, what we were told during the case, it was quite a popular case in America. This was during COVID period. It took place. Can't remember exact year, but it was during COVID. This particular woman, the policewoman, Amber, went into Botham's house or flat, killed him whilst he was busy lounging, playing video game, I believe it was, in his living room. No questions asked. Just opened the door, shot him from a far range, and that was it. It transpired that, according to Amber, she thought that was her flat and thought Botham was an intruder, which was to me very strange because Botham, in the way that he was sitting and relaxing, you can tell this one is saying, this is my home. Okay? It happened, if I can remember correctly, that Jean and Geiger, which is Botham Jean and Geiger, were not actually in like next door neighbors to say for her to mistake the flat to be hers. And how she had the key to go in is another thing I didn't know. It wasn't really revealed. So there was just too many loopholes within that case that wasn't quite explained carefully in my book for us to make a better judgment. Anyways, as it transpired, Amber is a white woman, Botham is a black man. A dark-skinned black man, if I must point out. So during the court case, this is why I even brought this video here. The issue of killing wasn't my problem. It's what happened during the court case. During the court case, Botham's brother, in one of the days of the court case, I think it's towards the end, where the jury were about to pass judgment or something like that, or prior, something like that. Anyways, during the court case, Botham told Amber that he forgives her because he believes that she is not a bad person, and in a way insinuating that she did what she did by mistake, and basically downplaying or excusing her behavior. And in that same scenario, Amber came out from her dock, and so did Botham's brother, whose name I can't remember. And they embraced each other in the spirit of forgiveness. I said he embraced her. He literally embraced her. Not even just like pat in the back. I thought to myself, like, what is going on? That's not how you behave in a court case, because what he did, if you just don't understand where I'm coming from, is that he perverted justice. Because that form of behavior, in my book, it downplayed the psychological and emotional seriousness of the case, which can even add to how the jury will view Amber's action. And give it to Amber. I believe Amber did an Oscar-worthy performance, okay? Obviously, putting herself as almost like a victim, just playing her cards right. I mean, what can you expect if you're in that situation? If I know how to play it, I would do the same thing to get away from first-degree murder. Because what happened at the end was that Amber, rather than being charged with first-degree murder, was now charged with manslaughter. Now, questions that I needed to ask again was, how come Amber, being someone of within the criminal justice that understands how these things work, when she came in, giving her the benefit of a doubt, when she came in, did not say, "Who are you? What are you doing in my flat? You need to get out now." Stuff like that. You know, as someone that thinks someone else is an intruder, that is the first point of conversation, or point ways of trying to figure out what is going on. But no, Amber did not do that. Amber went straight to killing Botham without his knowledge. Just didn't give him opportunity to even turn around to see who. So that was not good. And also, I keep thinking to myself, like, just how? There's so many how that came into my thoughts that wasn't making sense. But again, what happened happened. However, I blame the brother of the defendant, who is Botham's brother, for the way he behaved. Because I'm thinking, like, did the police promise you and your family something? That if you behave like this, if you forgive the police woman, you will get away with issues or will become your friends? I don't understand. I just didn't understand. Because there's different reasons why one can let go and forgive someone. But not in this case, because forgiveness in itself is, in this situation, is not what is being judged upon. It is the action of murder, which is an act of killing someone intentionally without the person's, in this situation, without the person even knowing what took place. Called murder. So, Amber played her card right and got away with murder. So, yeah, basically. So she showed us the playbook to get some, well, get out of problem. Just do boo-hoo, ha-ha, cry everywhere. I'm sorry. Many YouTubers covered this topic when when it happened, and all agreed to my viewpoint. At that time, I couldn't care less because I was like, it's not my brother, it's not my brother. But as time went around, I start seeing this pattern of behavior where I find that people, some things that black people forgive, they don't forgive it, do the same, extend the same forgiveness to their fellow black person when similar thing occurs. As I mentioned, there are different reasons why one can let go, which is you can't do nothing about it, stuff like that. There's multiple reasons you can let go. But in the case of Jean and Geiger, the brothers' act was very foolish. He could have done that after the verdict. And he was busy saying that his family is a good family, they are a loving family. I'm like, your family is not being judged. What is being judged is the case of murder. No one is trying to see whether you've... I just didn't understand. Not to dwell on this case. I believe that this simply showcased some level of hypocrisy in black forgiveness, because my thoughts during that case was, and even later on, assuming Amber was a black policewoman, would Mr. Jean's brother extended the same act of kindness and behavior to this woman? If Geiger was a black man who killed Botham, who is also a black man, would the same, or how would the public have perceived it? A black man killing another black man, you wouldn't have, like, literally, you know, based on popular cases and perhaps things that you see on social media and media in general, how this kind of cases are narrated to the public and even perceived by the people affected. So in this situation, I just thought this is a full-blown up hypocrisy in display in terms of forgiveness, because I know in my own thoughts, in my own observation, and in things I have seen, that similar thing would not have accorded. So this then makes me think, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we like this? There are times to forgive things, but also let justice take its place. Because here is the reason why you needed to let justice take its place. In case of future purpose. If you saying Amber, if you cry boo-hoo, cry, do all those things, we will let go. Guess what Amber will do? If Amber does the same crime again, Amber will do the same boohoo crying. Amber will still play the cards. She just showed us black book of making a black man in that situation subdue. Basically, you know, calm down, calm their emotion and get away with murder. That's what she did. And you know what? I even don't blame the girl, man. I don't blame her at all. I don't. If you do, I don't. I think she just gave us the guidebook. If you know how to play that card right, play it. Play it to your own advantage, yeah? Play it to your own advantage. Listen, I've seen this in multiple cases. I've seen it in real life. And it does worry me sometimes. So that is the first case. The second case I want to share, let's stick to America before we come down to UK. I don't know you guys know this popular podcaster and content creator, YouTuber as well. I think she creates content sometimes, but her thing is really podcasts basically. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike this woman, but I think her viewpoints at times is very worrying. When I first heard her, I was really amazed by her level of intellect, self-reflection. I literally followed her immediately because I literally enjoyed listening to her viewpoints and I get where she was coming from. Later down in the line, when I then saw how she interacted and viewed different experiences or different people from the black race to other races, and the way she speaks about them, I realized that there is more to this story and there is a big, deep-heated issue that perhaps, I don't know if she's aware of it, but perhaps she's hiding, or she hasn't really come to acknowledge is a problem for her. The person I'm speaking about, I'm going to mention names. I'm not the type of person. There's sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want to mention names, but for this video, since we are doing name dropping, and I know the names, that's if I know the names. But yeah, I would mention name. Candice Owens. If you know Candice Owens, you know she's very vocal about her views on certain things. But there is one particular video that I watched of her that made me, I wouldn't say, it was so troubling that I was like, wow, okay, there's no other things that people are talking about her. Now I see where it's coming from, because I just didn't understand how she could be like that. So this would have been better in it, like what's it called, when I go on a little bit, but I will do that before I go to the next topic. But I'll do it since I started with her topic. So her story, I remember she said she had a story of where she was sexually assaulted, I think, or physically abused, one of those two. I think it was sexual harassment or assault, one of those two anyways, by a group of white guys in her school, which she reported, and it was looked into and stuff like that. And in her description of this situation, she was quite lenient in the way she described their behavior, and she was, if I must say, excusing some of the ways, the behaviors. I didn't really take that into, I'm like, you know, each to their own, because everyone has their experiences. But I know something that she said along the line of something like, almost like trying to say they were just being stupid, they didn't know what they were doing, and you know, we were all just young and stuff like that, and blah 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 and blah. I was a bit taken back in the way she was trying to take I can't even remember the time I watched that video, but it's part of her, it's one thing she shared in her podcast, and also in an interview where she was being interviewed. This was actually, funny enough, this is where I say that hypocriticism. My God, this was when she was still under the is it turning, no, not turning point of the person, you know, the person that she was working for before she was let go, when she was still under these people. I've forgotten their names. It was run by one white man like that. I think he's Jewish as well. Hi everyone, I'm sorry my video cut off, so I'm just going to complete this part of the video using this means. but other parts of it did record, so I didn't realize it cut off and then started again and stuff like that. So I'm just going to continue and cover this area of Candice Owens' story so that you're not lost in transition. All right, so here is so here are the issues I find with that her way of viewing things. So, as I already mentioned, she did not excuse the white boys that harassed her, assaulted her. However, um, she, in her description of other people, especially of the black people, not necessarily when they've done something against her, but when they've done something against others, and even as I say, even especially today to another race or in general, I just find that her description is much harsher, her stronger, and also her judgment is also equally harsh, and the words that she uses are equally condemning, which again I speaks to the hypocrisy I'm trying to bring about to light on how we think and behave to ourselves and to others, and how that is problematic. So, in a particular situation, which I'll just compare the her experience of harassment to another situation where a particular black girl in America during graduation could not wait to be called and wasn't given an opportunity to speak on the podium, but she wanted to speak. So she went up there and grabbed the mic from the person that was speaking and started speaking. Take it as an example, like the Kanye and Taylor Swift kind of situation. That is sort of what happened. And she was highly disruptive. That's the best way. That is, I think, the highest way you can really describe her behavior. She was highly disruptive and disrupted the whole show and stuff like that. So, many people in America did cover that, and obviously they showcased their um, disapproval of the behavior. However, I didn't hear anyone use such a strong word to describe that as Candice Owen did, because she said this. Because I honestly, that her line of description or the sentence that she made never left my head till today. She said this, and I believe this is like word for word, verbatim, yeah, on what she said. She said that this girl, particular black girl, was a disgrace to America. Please tell me how such behavior can disgrace the whole nation. Okay, you can say she's showcasing wrong behavior, she's showcasing anything, but to say she's a disgrace to whole America is taking it to a level that is unnecessary, uncalled for. Okay, see the description that she gave, but when she was talking about her own issue with the rapists, or not rapists, but the people that harassed her or something like that, she was lenient, she was forgiving in her tone, she was forgiving, she was even understanding, trying to even understand the people that did that to them. So I ask ourselves the question: who do you then blame when you are treated differently, when like in a harsher way, when you yourself have not even shown yourself that compassion and love? So in that situation, I thought that in this example of the hypocrisy in black forgiveness that needs to be addressed. Okay, once again, some words that we use to describe certain situations that happens to us between black on black, I think needs to be reviewed, um, and the emotions that we feel needs to be reviewed. Now, I get it. Sometimes when a black person does something to you, it hurts differently because you be like, I didn't expect that from you. Stuff like that. It can hurt differently. There is a different than when another race do that to you. Trust me, I get that. But I think we should be calling a spade a spade. Don't try and mix words because of another race, maybe either out of fear, out of repercussion, out of you can't do nothing about it, out of any reason that you may have. I do believe there are different ways to handle issues. But I feel like in certain situations, if you are being passionate and emotionally charged towards your own based on their behavior and another person displays the same behavior, it is important to also showcase similar, if not the same emotion, which I understand it may happen in different circumstances and you're in different head of space at that time. I understand that. But the whole point of this video is to us for us to be cognizant become conscious of how we relate to each other and how this affects us and our relationship to each other and to others. Okay, so that's the key. And even adding to the terms of description of words, I also find that most dark skinned people who describe the experience of bullying, let's say by black on black bullying situation, right, where they are making that description, they often use really strong words, just like Candice do, to describe the person that offended them. They can call the person jealous, hater, anything else that they can call. Um, for example, where people have said they've been called bleak and stuff like that, they take offense to that, and then they describe those people as different things, right? However, where I find another person of different race have said something negative and meaningful, mean and even hurtful in similar context, they show some level they try to figure out some level of understanding on why the person will say that. Why would you do that? Is this that? And they even give us, it's like, hand out excuses to the person when the person didn't even excuse their own behavior. So sometimes I wonder, is it a way to regulate the emotion, or is it something different? It may feel different perhaps, but the behavior is still the same. If the behavior is the same, call it out for what it is, because it doesn't help you. What you're doing in situations like this is undermining your value, or the value of your experience, undermining the validity of it, and also indirectly, without communicating it, telling the other people that, my emotions doesn't matter, my thoughts doesn't matter, and listen, you can walk all over me. Or alternatively, you're also telling people, oh, listen, I understand where you're coming from, and do you know what? I give you the privilege of being more valuable to me. Okay, this is how you hand out privilege to other races without knowing it. So when you do not address things like this, it makes no sense. Note that other race, if you haven't observed, I'm a very good observer. Once I talk, I also observe. When you offend other race, sit to yourself and see how they treat you. Now compare to yourself when that other race offends you. See how you treat them. How do you treat them? You are more compassionate, even empathizing, right? You don't try and address the issue. And I say usually one of the reason for these things has there are multiple reasons for this. Some of them I've already mentioned, but that should not excuse a behavior that needs to be corrected. And you don't have to be outrageously evil and mean to correct that behavior. It's just you have to put things in place. And I even went ahead and don't think that these people do not experience racism as well. What I say, the difference between racism performed by a black person to racism performed to white person is that each one addresses their experience differently. So if you are racist to a white person, I find they usually address that in real life. Yeah, this is why you don't see them talking so much about it on social media, because they already have a way to handle that. That's my own observation. They address it in real life. However they choose to address it really belongs to them, and some of them you may even observe as well. However, where racism is performed to black people, I feel like sometimes you hold on to the emotion so much that you do not forget that you have to kind of correct the situation where you can correct it. And sometimes you bring it home and be telling people what happened to you, but then you can't really speak about it outside. In this way, you've already held the emotion too long. And then before you know, you start building. And then next thing, some people start doing it online. Note, I am a person that also share my experiences online. However, most of those issues I've shared online, I've already addressed them in real life. Do you get? When you address them in real life, telling the story feels a little bit more different because there's a level of control and things like that. Majority of the time, if you can't do that online, in person, then there's no reason that you can't share it on any platform that you want to share it. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you what will help. If you address stupidity, racism, issue, bullying, all those things in real life, I'm telling you, you feel less angry towards another race. In fact, sometimes you may just, like something like, okay, I didn't know you were being racist. I can even ignore that. But if I realize that you're being evil and racist and I'm able to do something about it, trust and believe it, Ogechi would do something about it. Okay? And you should take the same approach because that, first of all, just reduces the amount of hurt that you hurt. It doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. It's just that means that your brain chemistry is now revived to know that, yeah, when something hurts us, we correct it, right? Here is another reason why I say so. If you do not
tackle these emotions or these issues heads on, do you know that the outbursts that you give and those things that you give when you are hurt, doesn't even matter if it's a case of racism or anything else, you know that however level of anger you showcase or annoyance or sadness, whatever emotion you display, do you know that is your emotions, your spiritual being, your soul, your emotions, your internal being telling you, I'm hurt. So to suppress it in order to please others, to suppress it in order to keep going, is continuously telling your emotion. You're literally telling it, you don't matter, you don't matter. We keep moving. You don't matter. I'll say let it out. I'm not even the type. Let it out. Obviously, to communicate your views is important in a way that the person that you want corrected gets it is important. But do not suppress your emotions just because you're trying to look a certain way. Obvious, as I mentioned, use discernment. Different environments calls for different action. Okay, use discernment in situation, different thing. But I'll say never. I've learned it. This is something I have learned. I stopped apologizing to my emotions in the way it feels when people hurt me. It doesn't have to be in the terms of racism. I looked at myself. Honestly, I literally had to have a conversation with myself about it. I looked at myself. I said, Ogechi, you were hurt. Ogechi, you were disrespected. So, however you choose to handle it is how my emotions I thought at that time chose to handle it in order for it to heal, in order for it to repair itself in any shape or form, or at least address the situation, even if it doesn't get the healing at that time. Because what I do usually, if I do something like that, when I walk away from there, I'm just sometimes I'm rolling, still rolling in anger, but other times I'm like calm because I'm like, oh, I sorted it out. And with time, literally, that emotion well, it goes down because I'm no longer annoyed or angry with the racist situation I face or stuff like that. So I'm at this point in my life where I accept my own behavior for what it is because I realize I don't get triggered easily. But when you trigger me, you trigger me. That's because I've been hurt. So I have to tell my emotions that we are okay. We are okay. We can defend ourselves. Do you get? That is it. And people have to learn that they can also not just say and do anything to you and get away with it. Because if you continue that, that means, as I always say, like if you continue that, it will just spread everywhere and then it becomes a bigger issue than you. So basically, that is the things that I covered. And then I went ahead to speak about a particular young girl um, who is from UK. She's a schoolgirl. I think if I were to get her age, or I think she'll be year 9 or year 10. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just saying based on her physical look, that's the age I put her on. So she was describing her experiences in the school that she was, and some of these experiences include some things that are called racial issues and also racism. So she said that in her school, people used to mock her about her hair, saying that she doesn't wash her fellow schoolmates and things like that. It got to her though, but then at a point she decided to educate the school or the people about black hair and her hair and why, like the way we care about it and stuff like that, which reduced the issue of the bullying. Although she didn't describe it as bullying, she said it was them being ignorant. um in that situation, I didn't just say it's just being an ignorant. I also say it's bullying because it's a bullying behavior. Do you get? And we should not excuse bullying behavior of that such. In this situation, it will be in a racial context because they are talking about something that is primarily who she is as a person. So, um, and I didn't take much issue with that her approach. I think education is very important. This is why correction is important in any space or shape. And that correction doesn't always have to be just to the other race, it's also to your own race, because don't just assume because the person is a black person they can also get away with rubbish. That doesn't Don't let the communication be consistent, basically is what I'm trying to say. So in this particular context, she educated the school and stuff like that. And then yeah, I said, okay, no problem. I've had issues like that where that certain things like that has happened to me, and I also address it in the best way I could address it. And this the ways I addressed them follows up in the video that you're about to continue watching. Okay, so on that note, um, remember, ensure that you address issues when it happens, if possible, or find another way to address it. This will help showcasing the value and the validity of your experience so that you do not hand out privileges free of charge without receiving one. All right. Thank you.
So in that situation, I understood it because I myself have had my fair share of experiences. Whilst my hair has never been something spoken negatively about, if I must say, celebrated in majority of the cases in my life, okay? As I mentioned, my auntie that supported me in making sure my hair is always looking kinky. Nice, not kinky, like nice. Well, my hair is, you see my hair. Thank you. Like just making sure it's always nice, you know. And yeah, the value of my hair, my beauty. Thank you. So yeah, that is really it. I haven't had my experience. I'll just tell you my own experience. You can laugh, you can laugh if you want, but I'll tell you my own experience because I've overcome that embarrassment. You cannot shame me now. So in college, I had a situation where my braid, single braid, since she was a single braid, I was a single braid at that time, literally it was coming off, you know, towards the back, you know, as a black person, you know, because the reason why it comes up towards the back, right, is because you're always, like, let's say for example, if you're always carrying your bag and backpack and, you know, when you're always pushing the hair up and stuff like that, you know, that's the part that becomes more loose first before the other side. So the back hair is the part. So one of the strands were coming out. Our hair, yeah, hair braid. I don't even know how to describe it, but one of the braids was coming out, and it was the tip. I was just managing it. So I know it's been there for a week, showing me signs and wonders. But I was like, nah, we got to work through this. So I just had it. I don't know what I was doing, but this was in the lift, and in the lift there were two Asian girls and one guy like that. I can't remember where he was. So I don't know what I was doing, but for some reason the thing was really dangling out. And this Asian girl, one of them pointed to my hair and said, start laughing. Oh, well, they called it dreadlocks. It's coming off. Like, she was pointing to the person, not telling me, telling her friend. And then the thing fell off. Because I moved myself and the thing fell off, and they were all laughing at me and pointing and just saying, they made some stupid remarks which I will not relate here because I can't even remember clearly what they said, but it was just not nice words that they said, and they were just laughing at me. Oh, now if it was a black girl, I feel like they would have laughed with me. If it was a person, anyways, they would have laughed with me because I felt like they would have understood the experience. Do you understand? I guess maybe depending on the type of black person you are. Now this is what I'm even generalizing. They were thinking, because in this situation, I thought, I mean, you can laugh, oh. You can laugh, you can laugh. I was so embarrassed. I could not even deal with that situation. I didn't want to, all I wanted to do is just go to the bathroom or the toilet and get myself sorted out. So I was just waiting for that lift to just come down and open itself to the floor I was meant to go. And so they were simply, literally, they were just having a kiki laugh and pointing and talking to each other and just pointing at me and making stupid remarks about my hair. So in that situation, I say it's bullying. It can class as a bullying behavior. But as I mentioned, I didn't do nothing about it. My dear, if it was you, would you have just come out? What would you have done? I did what my mind was saying, my dear, go and get yourself sorted out, because the place I was about to go, I was about to see more people because I was about to meet my friends. Imagine that. A majority of them at the time were not of black race. So, hello, and the whole school, even if there were black people there, that is just not going to be good. So I was just trying to sort myself out. So that was my thing. So yeah, I went to sort myself out. But in that situation, I could put that as being ignorant and stupid and bullying behavior. In some way, I put the same thing for her experience of this girl as bullying, not necessarily ignorance. I call it bullying because either way, you don't go ahead to talk about other races here in a negative way. I've never seen it in my life. I haven't seen any place where I see a black person go and when even if they see the hair looking all rubbish, right? See, oh, your hair is very your hair. I personally still never understand what gives people effrontery. I mean, with that one, you can see there is a reason why they were laughing. But you know where there is no cause for concern and someone come and talk nonsense to you about your hair. I just don't get it. Like, what give people audacity? Anyways, don't try that with me, oh. Now, not now. Because look at you have mouth, too. Don't get me wrong. The only difference is that I don't know how to exercise it because of the kiss of God. I don't like going for confession. If you know, you know. I don't like going for confession. Therefore, I try not to do things that make me go to confession, though. I'm telling you, if I God in heaven. So I try, unless it's like where I feel justified. I ain't going no confession. Thank you very much. God bless you. So basically, yeah. So in that situation, I don't say anything. Talking about confession, you are still in Lent. Go to confession, and I'm telling myself the same thing. If you're a Catholic, sorry. If you're a black person and you're Catholic, yeah, or you're Catholic in general. Remember, confession, it's Lent time. Anyways, yeah, that's by the way. And if you're a Christian, it's time for repentance. Anywho, yeah, this is basically what happened. So, as I mentioned, I can excuse that as nonsensical behavior, ignorance, stupid, bullying, any of those things, I would call it. So, moving ahead, the second story that second example she gave of her experience, and she went to a predominantly white school, I believe I mentioned. She said while she was on the train, in the carriage that she was think she was the only black girl that was there, a black person that was there, think again going towards school. And you know, in UK, they do safety announcements where they say if you see something, say something, or if you see something that is odd, report it and stuff like that. Now, in this carriage, being that she was the only one that was different from the other girls based on race, based on skin tone, they pointed at her and be laughing like, oh, she's something that needed to be reported and stuff like that. I was like, okay, this is where we don't call it ignorance. This is not where we call it foolishness. Because basically, you are a human being, just like them. You are not something to be reported. You are not something to be say is odd. You are not. That's just plain racial racism, racial bullying, whatever you want to call it. So I say, this is why I say your experiences are valuable and your experiences is valid. Your feelings are valid, because guess what? Why are you going to downplay your experiences in order to promote others? This is where you hand out privilege, and in the same case as Botham, you hand out privilege free of charge, and you blame other people. Why? When you could have addressed issue just like that, you can, like, that situation makes zero sense. I was like, no, that's racism. So let's call it spade a spade. So in that situation, I say that is racism. I know some people will take the hair one as also racism. But as I mentioned, based on my own experience and having to deal with certain issues like that, I didn't think of it as racism. You know, because I've had where people have said like, oh, a black person told me that, one person, a white girl was telling me, you grease your hair. I was like, we don't grease our hair. We oil our hair for moisturizing. That's simple education. Do you get it? That's simple education. That's simply advising. Well, she tried to maintain her stand. I maintain my stand. Now, this even comes to another topic again, where you hear people say, oh, but this black person, I'm like, well, if I think that black person is wrong, I'm saying he's wrong. The person is wrong. Okay? However, I did acknowledge that I know some people may call that form of moisturization as form of grease. Honestly, looking at her hair, there was many things I could have said about her hair, don't get me wrong. But as I mentioned, I'm a very person that is, I'm not an insulting person. But don't try my mouth though. I don't. And usually I find it difficult to catch insult because I'm never going out to try and offend others. I never do that intentionally to try and offend others. You know, some people would go out to just do that. That's not me. I don't understand the sense in it anyways. So I mean, even remembering how her hair looked. Anyways, that's by the way. So I was like, okay, yeah, I just said that to her. That is a point of correction. And simple as that, that was it. And that brings me to say, like, if we as black people start correcting people in real time, in real life, about the things that they do, for example, whether through education or through caution or anything that needs to be said, however you want to do it, there will be less complaining of racism by us. I say that verbatim. Anyways, pump and play. I say that there will be less complaining. I believe the reason why other races. Let's say, for example, the white race doesn't come every time telling you their black experiences or their experiences of racism by other races. I got, funny enough, one of my visiting sociology teacher did share her experience of racism in another country, because they do experience racism, don't get me wrong. Maybe the difference is they don't come and speak out loud, and equally because they sort those things in real life. So if we start sorting those issues in real life, you know, they have multiple ways of solving it. Whether they do it then or later on, you can strategize to something depending on the level of issue you're dealing with. Too. You have to use discernment, use wisdom to tackle every issue. I'm not saying you have to follow everything I say, but I'm saying do what I say. Okay? And do what I do, right? Basically, learn to tackle the issues, correct people. This is, you know, I'm telling you, there's something this Asian girl even said, yeah, that I mean, once she said that, I liked it straight away. She's actually living in Dubai, and she said this thing. She's like, when she went into the world of work here, and she observed other things, like how, like, her own people, Asian, were reacting and treating, like, the relationship and how they carry themselves in the space of workspace compared to how her white counterparts were doing the same. She said she realized one thing. She's like, we cannot sit down and blame white people for how they behave. They're just, some of them are just living how they live. Why can't you live how you live? I find it very interesting where maybe someone of a high caliber in your own country comes into this space, and it's almost like they reduce. I know we cannot be a king in another man's land, but it's almost like their reduction is too much. You know, I'm like, why not exude the same confidence? That confidence you use to exude, and that behavior on your people, that authority, whatever you do, why not exude it in any space that you find yourself? As I mentioned, you cannot be king into another man's land, but you can still exude that confidence. Carry yourself in the same thing in any place that you find yourself. But I find with the black race, I don't know the way their brain used to go out. I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand it. Sometimes I don't. I'm real joking. So this is where I'm a bit perplexed about those situations. So let's really come down to the whole purpose of doing this video. With this whole examples I've given, what I'm saying is, first of all, the way we treat each other and the way we treat other race is very telling of how we value each other. If we don't give each other the same apologetic views or be lenient in the emotions, in the way that we view things, why do you think other races would do the same do that for us? They would not. So if you're going to extend kindness and grace to other race on their poor behavior, do the same for your own race. If you're going to be playing kind to other race, or even be more emotionally lenient in the way you handle certain situations, do the same thing for your own race. Don't say you should know better, because I've come to learn that in the same way we as black people have different hair textures, like let's say you have 4C, 4B, 4 anything, or any form of hair now texture that you have, you realize that certain treatments are not the same thing for your hair, right? Even if you have the same 4C hair, you realize even your 4C can be different from another person. What I'm trying to get to here, not to put it down to hair thing, what I'm trying to get here is we need to understand that we need to educate each other about ourselves. All black people come from different, every black person comes from different space and walks of life. As I mentioned, the example of the girl coming from African American, Native American descent, yeah? Everyone has different experiences. Let's be patient to learn, educate, and teach each other about ourselves. In that way, we can be more understanding. When someone is teaching you, don't be dismissive. Don't be like, oh, no. I don't even know what that means. But you know, like where people are like, oh, we don't do that, and then you're trying to put yourself better than others. Be humble enough to listen. Okay? I know sometimes you do that. I mean, I'm not saying this issue is only going to be like for black race. I know every race has their own issue, but I'm not trying to focus on other races. I'm trying to focus on us, because I find this behavior in us. You know, in my language, they say, "Eje show your mama for mama," which means that beauty starts from home. That means your relationship with another person, that is, you're being good that is not, you're not doing that to your own brothers and sisters. It scares me, because guess what? When all chips fall down, you come and run home for. I know sometimes may have home outside, but either way, the other way you find yourself as a home, when treatment comes, people see in the same lens. That's why there's a racial category, because it just helps human beings to see each other in a particular focus or lens. So, and my thing is about to die. So I'm just going to end here. It's like, let's be more patient, lenient, educate each other, and be careful to use kinder words in describing each other. Don't be so passionate against each other that you lose focus on the purpose of the issue. Okay, deal with the issue, deal with it in real life. You find yourself complaining less online. I do bring up issues online as well. As I mentioned, if there's ones that you cannot just handle in person, bring it online now. If that's the best place to bring it out, it's all right, do that. Finally, just before this thing ends, I've also said, in terms of teaching, where people have made slight remarks, for example, where a boss, not a boss, somewhere I worked in, someone of a different race made a kind of a racial category of black people only working in care. I had to correct him that we all worked in different spaces, because what you're trying to do is bring us down in one thing. What you don't understand is being able to do that. I had to correct him and report him at some time, but what you do not understand is that when people put us in this category, you can even make it that you limit the opportunities and chances given to others, right? Because again, remember the mind. I don't care what mind you have. The mind takes in the information and acts on it. Okay? So don't just do it for yourself. Do it for others. Sometimes when you do things, you say something, especially when you're relating with another race, think to yourself, would they do this thing to their own race? If the answer is no, they shouldn't do it to you. And they also think of people coming before you, who have come before you, and people who are coming behind. Look both ways, okay? Because each one, people that have come before you have made a way and made a path for you to be free and living in certain ways in another man's land. People that are coming before you are looking for you to set the example. So this is my own stance on this thing. So let's be kind, loving, and forgiving. Extend the same grace, patience, educate each other in the way that we relate to each other. In that way, we'll all be fine, okay? Less complain, well, not complaining, less annoyance and anger towards racial issues, and more solutions-based issues. On that note, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you like it, and don't forget to please donate to Mercy Shapes, okay? I really would like for you guys to help Mercy Shapes to get to meet and support more people. All right, thank you for watching. Signing off, Talkinsen. Bye.